Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Jeff Stoltzfus, that's Kevin, and this is Fantasy Foosball. Today we're talking about the Chicago Bears, which I'm told is a professional sports team and not the newest addition to the NBC lineup. Though catching salmon would be a nice break from all the drama of those other shows. Can head coach Matt Nagy and a new quarterback get the Chicago Bears to the promised land? Does a bear shit in the woods? Yeah, that's pretty much how this is gonna go today, so get on board. Before we get into the heat of the meat of this episode, I thought I'd take a second and describe what we do here at Fantasy Foosball. You see, Kevin and I belong to a Dynasty League, a 16-team Dynasty League that includes IDP. So we have to dive to the very bottom of every roster looking for all the little diamonds we can. And we thought we would share that with everybody else. So come along with us. That being said, today's not sponsored by Skinny White Girls. They're everywhere. But are they? Science has shown a disturbing trend. They're disappearing from advertising. Over the last 90 years, there's been a dramatic shift, leading some experts to believe that climate change is causing them to melt or be murdered by pirates. But what can be done? The answer is clear. We must make more. Children become casting directors. Save the skinny white girls of advertising, or the next thing you buy could be because of a less skinny white girl, I guess? Let's do some math. The Mitchell Trubisky experience is over in the second city. The only red the fans will see now is under Andy Dalton's helmet. The Bears also fortified their wide receiver core with a pair of speedsters and added depth to the running back room. And now it's time for a breakdown. Congratulations, Bears fans! After enduring decades at the hands of Jay Cutler, Mitchell Trubisky, and a whole island of misfit toys, you finally got yourselves a real quarterback. Justin Fields was drafted 11th overall, and he did not look happy about it. At the time, I thought, ruh-roh, Justin hates the Bears. Or maybe just Bears. You saw what they did to Leo. But a quick Google search yielded the true story of a man with resting constipation face. Justin Fields was once considered the second best quarterback in the draft, but someone called him lazy, so Zach Wilson jumped him in the draft. I have been told that I am highly suggestible, but hear me now. If you give me just one quarterback from this class on my dynasty team, it's Justin frickin' Fields. One game doesn't make or break a player, so I will qualify this. I saw all I needed to before the Sugar Bowl. But in that game versus Clemson, Justin Fields became a legend. Fields finished with 6 touchdowns, 639 all-purpose yards, 385 passing. And in the midst of dismantling a powerhouse team, he took a shot. A hit so hard, the guy who did it was ejected. Fields was down. It looked bad. Fields missed 1 snap. 2 plays later, in obvious pain, Fields threw another touchdown. Now, he's been compared to Robert Griffin III, and that makes me nervous as hell, because my only concern with Fields is injury. So let's talk about that Sugar Bowl hit. Fields scrambled for the first down, and just before impact, tried to spin. This is a move I've seen him do before at the goal line. He gives up his back/side in an attempt to roll off the defender. I've seen it work for him. However, in this case, the defender led with his helmet, and Fields' ribs paid the price. Fields is going to need to do a better job protecting himself at the next level, or RG3 really will be a prophetic comp. Andy Dalton, the red-headed stepchild of the NFL. Coach Nagy has already named him Week 1 starter. Sure, whatever. Don't put too much stock in Nagy's words. His decisions are likely to change faster than his underwear, as the coaching noose tightens around his neck this year. Dalton could start and win some games. He's an upgrade over what they've had in the past few years. Nick Foles is a valuable vet. He has a lot to offer mentoring a rookie like Fields. So let's cut him! Justin Fields in Dynasty is easy like Sunday morning. Grab him. No regrets. Redraft is a different story, at least this year. I wouldn't bother drafting him. He's just going to clog your roster until Nagy makes the change. And hopefully, you don't need a change at the quarterback position that bad. If Andy Dalton's mom plays fantasy football, even she's not drafting him. There's no way to guess how many games Fields will play this year. Like I said, Nagy is bound to be a fickle Rick. All it takes is one lackluster game where the Bears need to come from behind. I believe the post-game phrase will be, "We needed a spark." The Bears' running back room is polarizing. David Montgomery had over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns last year. However, most of that came in the second half. In week 1 through 9 last year, he never reached 100 yards and only came away with 1 touchdown. So what's the deal, David? The season divided so dramatically for 2 reasons: a changing quarterback and a softer schedule. Montgomery is a tough back, a hard charger, but he lacks long speed. So even if he breaks to the second level, eventually he's taken down. That's not to say he's good or bad, just limited. For the record, I'm not a David Montgomery fan in fantasy. But the second half of last year saw more opportunity for him, in part due to a mobile quarterback, which Justin Fields is. In theory, leading Montgomery to more yards, more points this year. Coach Nagy used his face hole to say his goal is to get Montgomery 20 touches a game this year. Again, if he is to be believed. But you suspect, Nagy. You suspect. Even though I'm not a David Montgomery fan, the case can be made for him as a volume play, with upside based on the eventual change to Fields. So it's all about that ADP, which is all over the map. At his high, near the top of the 3rd, I'm out. At his low, late in the 5th, I'm in. He has all the appeal of a baked potato and all the upside of garlic fries. Damien Williams is back after opting out of 2020. Last time we saw him, he was winning the Super Bowl. Some even said he was the MVP. Hard to argue, 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. I've never been blown away by him prior, but he was impressive in that game. He's 29 years old, he's got good size, speed, and I assume well rested. He's a good pass catcher, in particular, his yards after catch. He's got moves. He's shown to be too elusive for linebackers in coverage and big enough to overpower corners. Williams is currently going undrafted, but I'm sure his ADP will rise this preseason as people remember he exists. Maybe even quicker if Tarik Cohen isn't back to full health. Tarik Cohen missed most of 2020 with a torn ACL. A full recovery is expected, but it sounds like he'll open the year on the PUP list. He's been one of the better scat backs in the league, but I don't expect much even after he's back this year. It was a pretty serious injury. Even after he returns to the rotation, I'd expect them to manage his reps. Every year a player I like slips in the draft, leaving me scratching my head. This year it was Khalil Herbert, or Lil Herb as he would not appreciate me calling him. I didn't think he'd go in the top 3 rounds, but the back of the 6th? What am I missing? He's not big and he's not a burner, but he's good. I really like Khalil Herbert, and I'm bearish on everyone in front of him. But I have to stop myself from getting too carried away here. I'd love for him to climb this depth chart, but their investment in him is low. So if you go after him, you really need to be a believer in both his talent and that he won't be jumped by another rookie picked next year. There's also undrafted free agents Nall, Pierce, and Marble, none of which stand out to me. I doubt I'll have Montgomery this year. Some love him, some hate him. I'm only interested at bargain prices. Grab Damien Williams late in redraft. I don't think he's competing with or spelling Montgomery. I think he's filling the Tarik Cohen void. In PPR, he could outperform his ADP regardless of QB, which is like half the alphabet. In Dynasty, I'm watching Herbert. If I get the chance, I'll take him, but I'm not reaching. There's no payoff this year and no guarantee next year. But I'm lurking. I'm out on Cohen. Even if he plays half the year, I'm not confident there's enough for him to fill a flex spot. Hey man, you know what would be cool? Hit that like button. You don't have to smash it, it didn't do anything to you, but if you could just click it. Yeah, it helps people find the show by appeasing the almighty YouTube algorithm, which apparently is a thing. Also, click subscribe to. That also helps the channel grow. And you can even click the little bell. There's a little bell button that just notifies you when we make new ones of these, which we're not annoying. We do it like once a week. Be cool, man. Thanks again. We do appreciate it. I don't have a joke for that this week. It's just genuine from the heart. Do you know that octopuses have 3 hearts? I heard that in, like, Finding Dory. The wide receiver room remains mostly the same this year. Barely any changes. Allen Robinson is the victim of an abusive relationship. An abusive football relationship that's involved every mall Santa from Chicago to Jacksonville. It's not your fault, Allen. It's not your fault. No, you're crying. Surprisingly, he's done all right. 100+ receptions and over 1,000 yards last year, and I'd expect the same this year too. Even with the upgrade at QB, I think Allen's going to finish about the same. His ADP is about the back of the second. Feels right. People were sleeping on Darnell Mooney last year, but the hype train pulled into the station during camp and I bought a one-way ticket. Mooney was drafted in the 5th last year. He played in a smaller school, and he has a slight frame, but he can ball. I believe Mooney is the biggest winner from the quarterback change. If you like what you saw from Darnell Mooney last year, go watch some of his plays from last year where he beat his coverage like it owed him money, and then was just downright overthrown. It was criminal. His ADP is in the 11th right now, near other speedsters like McCole Hardman and Henry Ruggs. Can't say I disagree with the company. I had high hopes for Anthony Miller coming out of college. He's flashed at times, but I get the feeling his breakout isn't coming, and it's not because of other players. The rumors are he's not the best study when it comes to the playbook. There's loads of talent here. He's probably their best option in the slot. He was floated as trade bait this offseason. Nobody bit. And then, right in the middle of editing this episode, the Bears traded him to Houston. Marquise, Goodwin, and Damiere Byrd are 5'9" with tons of speed and experience. Both make the Bears better, but they both also profile the same as Darnell Mooney. After these 5, nobody is safe. I like Ridley, but things have gone wrong if he's on the field. Dazz Newsome is a 6th-round rookie pick this year, but he just seems like a lesser Ridley to me. All day, every day for Robinson in any format. Mooney over the others currently swimming at his ADP. Watch Byrd and Goodwin. Change might come this year, and one of them could reap the benefits. Kmet, the best a man can get. My only question about Cole Kmet is the breakout coming this year or next? Probably next, but I'm still in. Kmet was my #1 tight end in the draft last year. We barely saw him in his rookie year, and he still impressed me. He's a sequoia of a man, and he's chopping down lumberjacks on his way to the end zone. I can't say it any plainer. Get Kmet. Man, get the heck out of here with that Jimmy Graham nonsense. The man is 72 years old. Let me tell you how it's going to go this year. Jimmy Graham is going to be invisible, like a ghost in a sauna. Then suddenly he'll catch 3 touchdowns, the announcers will tell us he played basketball, and then he'll injure something you ain't never heard of licking stamps or something. End of story. They also have a butt on this team. Honestly, I didn't know he was still trying to football. But if he could stay healthy, I'd rather have him than the other 2 undrafted free agents on the roster. So get Kmet if you like winning. Don't you act like Jimmy Graham is still a thing. You know, I heard he used to play basketball. The Bears' defense is good. Akeim Hicks is one of those interior defensive linemen who's actually good for fantasy. It's like spotting a centaur at the grocery store. What's he gonna buy? Roquan, Smith, Danny Trevathan, and Khalil Mack are all unknown entities. Could be a bounce back year on tap for Robert Quinn. He's worth watching. Eddie Jackson is of note. Really, there's nothing surprising here. I'm a little disappointed. I don't see some young up-and-comer. It just doesn't always happen. I won't BS you. So that's the Bears. Thanks again for watching Fantasy Foosball, and we will catch you next time. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
And to tease. As if one were to tease the... Damn it. My word hole is defective.